My ex and I have been hooking up sporadically, and last night I hooked up with another girl and feel guilty. Should I let X know? So here's the situation. My ex-girlfriend, Sarah 23, and I 25 and broke up about 6 months ago. It was a mutual decision, and we agreed to stay friends. Despite the breakup, we've been hooking up sporadically. It's not a regular thing, but it happens from time to time when we're both feeling lonely or just want some company. Neither of us is seeing anyone seriously, so it hasn't been a big deal, at least that's what I thought. Last night I went out with some friends and ended up meeting this girl, Jess. We hit it off, had a few drinks, and one thing led to another. We ended up hooking up. It was fun and casual, but now that the alcohol has worn off, I'm feeling a wave of guilt. Here's the thing. Sarah and I never explicitly discussed exclusivity during our sporadic hookups. We didn't set any rules or boundaries about seeing other people. But at the same time, there's an unspoken understanding between us that complicates things. I know she's not seeing anyone else, and part of me feels like I should have been more considerate. Now I'm stuck. Should I tell Sarah about what happened with Jess? On one hand, we're not together anymore, and technically, I didn't do anything wrong. But on the other hand, I don't want to hurt her or damage the fragile dynamic we have. I also don't want her to hear about it from someone else, which could make things even worse. I'm worried that telling her might ruin the possibility of us getting back together in the future, but not telling her feels dishonest. I value our friendship and don't want to mess things up, but I also don't want to carry this guilt around. Has anyone been in a similar situation? How did you handle it? Should I come clean to Sarah, or is it better to keep this to myself since we aren't officially together? Any advice would be appreciated. Update: things didn't go as I hoped. After much deliberation, I decided to tell Sarah about what happened with Jess. I figured honesty was the best policy, even though I was dreading the conversation. We met up at a quiet cafe, and after some awkward small talk, I finally mustered the courage to tell her everything. Sarah's reaction was immediate and intense. Her face went pale and I could see the hurt in her eyes. She asked me why I would do something like this when we were still hooking up, even if we weren't officially together. I tried to explain that it was a spontaneous, meaningless encounter and that I felt terrible about it. But she wasn't having it. She accused me of betraying her trust and disrespecting the unspoken agreement between us. She said she had always hoped we might get back together, but now she didn't see how that could ever happen. Her voice cracked as she told me she couldn't believe I would hurt her like this. The conversation quickly escalated into an argument. Sarah accused me of being selfish and inconsiderate, only thinking about my own desires without caring about how it would affect her. I tried to defend myself, saying we were technically single and had never set clear boundaries, but it only made her angrier. She said it was a cop-out and that I should have known better. Eventually, Sarah stormed out of the cafe, leaving me sitting there feeling like the biggest jerk in the world. I tried to call and text her afterward, but she ignored me. A few days later, she sent me a long message saying she needed to cut ties completely to heal and move on. She said she couldn't be friends with someone who hurt her so deeply. Now I'm left dealing with the aftermath. I've lost someone who was not only my ex but also a close friend. The guilt is eating me up, and I can't help but wonder if I made the wrong choice by telling her. Our relationship is in ruins, and it's hard to see how things will ever get better. I wish I had handled things differently, but there's no going back now. I guess this is a lesson learned the hard way. Thanks to everyone who gave advice, even if things didn't turn out as I hoped.